This episode of the Talkcast Podshow is brought to you by Boxu, our favorite partitioner of Japanese snacks.
I won't lie. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. This is my favorite sponsor.
You too, holy shit. Okay, nothing against our other sponsors. We love all of you, but the ones that give us snacks, I mean, come on, how do you beat that? Because Boxu delivers delicious Japanese snacks straight from the land of the rising sun to almost anywhere in the world. The boxes start at $24.99, and you can get 10% off your order using the code TeamFourStar10 at checkout. But enough about what delicious deals await you. Let's see what awaits us in this delicious Boxu. I'm gonna like this box.
Why?
Tangy citrus box.
Also, this is really cute. So the founder is Danny Tang, T-A-I-N-G. So it's the Tangy, spelled with his name, citrus box.
Oh, man.
Tangy citrus.
He's got this down. Let's dig into this boy here.
I'm so delicious.
You're so delicious.
I'm so delicious.
So delicious right now.
I'm very excited for these delicious snacks.
All right. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily know about me is one of my favorite dessert-like flavors is the citrus profile. Setochi lemon pies. They look like little biscottis. And they're little hearts. Oh, yes. I love the waferiness of them. Because you can actually see if you get in on that, which you can't from there, they're like little folded in on each other. They got like little crooks and nooks and crannies. They're like little tiny biscuit croissants.
And again, one of my favorite things about Japanese snacks, not too sweet, all the flavors are coming through, you really get to taste all the cookie as well as all the lemon and the sugar, and it's good. What in the world is this? I'm excited.
The Hyuganatsu Monaka.
There you go. I just made the world's biggest mess!
The texture is what surprises me here.
Yeah, right?
Crispy, almost like sugar cone-like texture of the cookie on the outside with the moist deliciousness of the lemon mochi on the inside.
So I've never had lemon mochi before. This is a new one, and it's a great combination. You have, that soft, sticky sweetness.
It's soft, sticky, sweet, from the bread to its meat.
Yes.
Orange tea pound cake.
Orange tea pound cake.
Low carb style. Black tea is one of those things that I never expected to enjoy the flavor of in things, but then I had black tea ice cream, and it's awesome. And as a guy that's not a cake guy, holy crap. You know what I'd compare this to? It's like citrus banana bread.
Yeah.
Like if you made banana bread with citrus fruits.
I cannot tell you how much black tea I taste in that bread. Like with every breath you take, you get, oh my God, that's delicious.
It's super aromatic, holy crap.
Yeah. Oh, these are like little, what do you call it?
There are minkang meringues.
Yeah, meringues. Yeah, the meringues.
Oh yeah, that's definitely orangey, holy crap. That is, I just had the dust in it. Wow.
See, I don't like meringues, so this isn't necessarily my speed, but that orange zest is so powerful.
It's so light, but then you bite into it. It's like a scene from fucking Food Wars where they pop the top on someone's like, the aroma fills the room. It's like my mouth is full of orange big-breasted women.
It's mochi. It is mochi with mikan flavor. That is exactly what that is. It is exactly how it advertises, and that is fantastic.
These are dry salted mikan slices.
Ooh, okay.
Dehydrated.
That shit's great.
I've been getting really into dehydrated fruit lately.
Oh my God, you are over 30.
I am, I absolutely am. Look at me, I'm on my, as Stephan said, I'm on my way to a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Yep.
I am dabba-dee-dabba-die.
Oh shit! It's Anpan! Yuzu Anpan? Oh my God. I kinda don't wanna share it, I won't lie.
You know what? As my gift to you, I won't make you.
Yes! Open! Okay, let's try this.
Go for it.
I'm not cutting any of this. Oh my God. Sorry, I love Anpan, I love kurimanju, and this is like kurimanju, but with, instead of almond paste in the middle, it's just yuzu paste, and I'm damn near in tears over here because it's delicious.
Yuzu konjac jelly.
Oh my God, I can hear it.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's refreshing. Oh, yeah, it aftertaste. hits you like a truck.
Chips!
Chips!
Yuzu chips!
Chips!
One thing I love about potato chips, and something that is utilized here, but not nearly as much as I think as it should be, potatoes are an amazing platform for flavors. The Japanese have nailed it on a lot of fronts. They have so many potato chip flavors. This, like some of the outside the box ones, like yuzu and salt. I'm not sure why beef is on there, but
All right. Oh, hey. So this is a. I don't think we eat this alone.
that I believe is herbal tea.
Ah, okay. It's tea,
These are the little citrus nori flakes,
which were amazing.
which is why I'm digging into these bad boys right now.
So this last one here is a cookie, and there's 2 cookies. So you have a cookie too.
It's a cookie. I will have a cookie. Is it a yuzu cookie?
Yeah, I think it's a yuzu cookie.
Yuzu cookie. Oh, that was a lot of flavor.
But not all just sugar. That's the thing that I love about these snacks is that there's so much flavor, and it's not just a like spoonful after spoonful of sugar.
It's citrus, it's sweet, it's buttery. Buttery is the big note I'm getting here.
It's always hilarious to see when people do these unboxing videos. They'll not eat every bit of what they get. And then meanwhile, if it comes in an individual package, I'm eating all of it. I don't give a damn. I do not give a damn.
Arare rice crackers, lemon and... Oh, I want to leave that a surprise.
Oh, crunchy.
I get it. Lemon and vinegar.
Hell yeah, lemon and vinegar. Oh yeah. Oh, what a great combination. It's crunchy, it's lemony, it's vinegary. Oh, that's so delicious.
Once again, another wonderful box from Boxu. Thank you very much again to our sponsor at Boxu.
Yes.
TeamFourStar 10 at checkout for 10% off your delicious snack order. And now on to the Talkcast Podshow.
Whoop whoop. Hello, and welcome back to the Talkcast Podshow, the #1 show on the internet, but the least favorite show on the Citadel of Ricks. I'm Scott Kaiseneck of Ricks, and today I'm joined by...
Hi, it's me, Grant.
And
also me, Stephan.
Stephan Krosix.
Me.
So, hey, before we get started, I want us to take a moment to give thanks to all the people who have been protesting, donating, and, acting to help make our country a better fucking place. We want to continue to give our support and our love, and just thank you all. You're doing a good job. You're doing good work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Yes. All right. So. And there's literally no segue that I could make.
There's no good transition.
Yes, the impossible segue into season 4 of The Rick and the Morty.
Because we couldn't think of anything else to talk about, to be perfectly honest.
Yep, because yeah.
It's a little dry right now, if you guys haven't noticed, in the sphere of media and things to discuss.
Way to really entice the audience right at the beginning.
Well, we wanted to talk about it. We did want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I have things to say.
Yeah, also season 2 of Kipo's coming out next week, but I don't know if anybody's watching that show.
I
mean, it got a
watched
second
it.
season, so somebody's watching it, but
I
more
don't think
people
I even
should.
know if I know what that is.
Kipo and the Wonder Beast, it's a Netflix show. You actually would really enjoy it. You should watch it.
All right, I'll put it on my radar.
Yeah, it's actually animated by Studio Mir, the same people who animated Korra. Ronan of Death saying it's really meh. You're wrong, and man, remove him as a mod. Remove him!
But we're not here to talk about
Kipo and the Wonder Beast.
and the wonderful people.
And the Wonderful Beasts.
And where to find them.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Rick and Morty Season 4.
Yes, we are.
So...
How did you guys feel about this season overall, before we get into any nitty-gritties?
I mean, if we're just gonna spoil, this is probably my least favorite of the 4 seasons so far.
Okay.
For my part, the season was cut in half, and I have 2 different opinions basically on each half. The first half, it started strong for me, and then I hated it. Then it was just very disappointing for me. The second half was pretty good.
I think.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'll chime in after you're done.
I feel like I wasn't super wowed by this season overall. I do think there were a couple really good standout episodes that I think hold up against even some of the best Rick and Morty episodes, in my opinion. But I feel like I like this better than the last season, but I'm only saying that because I really feel like I don't hardly remember anything from last season.
I will say the lows of season 3 might have been lower than some of the lows of season 4, but I felt like it. Okay, so Stephan, we talked a little bit about this beforehand, about how the structure of how these episodes were created and how they played out are different from prior seasons.
Yeah. I've read articles about this. I guess I can go into it a bit. So Dan Harmon changed his approach to this season, I think, just to try something new. As a writer and showrunner, he's always focused very much on story structure as a pillar of writing. He has what many know by now if they've looked into creative writing at all, which is the story circle, which is not unique to him, but it's something he very much lives by as a writer, which is just a circle based on on Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. That just is the overall structure for what he believes makes a great story. And this season, he had interviews that hinted that he kind of was a little more laissez-faire about that, maybe like dropped that for a bit. And as a result, I think this early season was really rough. Like, there were some funny things, but like when it comes to the characters being interesting, I feel like it really dropped off. And for me, that's what I find interesting about the show, more so than the silly goose exclusively. But how do you guys feel? I don't know. Did you guys feel that at all?
I felt it all throughout the season, if I'm going to be honest. Partially because you can tell that I feel like this is one of the times where you can really feel like they were getting aggressive with their attempts to subvert expectations. And I also felt like things generally felt less structured.
I was gonna I've always been a big fan of the comedy in this show and like just the goofs and the jokies, and like I feel like I've become like the well, I guess not become, but like I feel like I am the unusual person that I feel like if we're gonna make this show just super goofy to the wall, I'm okay with that. I'm also cool if we want to make it a structured, progressive story thing. Just feels like they keep putting one foot in and then back out, and that's what frustrates me. Like, because I feel like you could do this well either way. Rick and Morty opens up enough doors with their sci-fi stuff that you could make this a purely episodic. These characters aren't going to change. The real interesting stuff is what we do encapsulated in a single episode. Like, I think that format can absolutely work.
Yeah, and it's
just that they keep being like, but there's this big grander narrative that we're not telling you, and then like when fans ask about it, I feel like they almost get borderline like, no, it's just a goof, leave it alone. But then they make episodes where it's like, but actually it meant something. It's just, I feel like they can't make up their mind, and that's what makes it feel like it's not great in either direction in my mind.
Yeah, and I have to mirror that statement. I remembered season 1, and season 1 had some emotional moments, but a lot of them were played for laughs. It wasn't really until we got into season 2 and forward that you started to really get an idea that the show had an emotional depth to it. Then season 3 kept playing around with that, like it wanted to kind of go whole hog, but then at the very end, it's like, nah, fuck that. And then season 4 is like, nope, no real emotional resonance throughout most of it until the last episode where, I mean...
Oops, all serialization.
Yeah, and I understand if the team wants to focus more on episodic content and these more, centralized stories, but yeah, you can't keep going back and forth on the way you want to tell these stories.
It just felt really disingenuous with like the first episode of the second half of the season was the story train, and like the whole thing feels like it's kind of making fun of people who want there to be a larger canon. Like at the end of it, they're just like, here's all the stuff that could have been real, blah! And like just like kind of like poking fun at people wanting some larger, overarching, big climactic narrative. But then the season finale is basically just like, here we go. We're bringing back a bunch of old characters, and we're gonna make we're gonna make a sad sap out of Rick about his friend and his daughter. Like, and it's it just feels so non-committal in both directions that it never feels right. And I guess that's sort of how I feel.
Yeah. But that doesn't detract from the good episodes of this season for me, which there were several really good episodes, even if some of them were exceptionally strange.
Well, I mean, why don't we, like, that seems like a good jumping off point. Like, Scott, what is one of your favorite episodes this season? We can maybe
honestly, the Story Train episode is spectacular.
I really like that one as well.
Yeah, it is packed to the brim with really clever wordplay and great setups and payoffs. I found that fantastically creative and hilarious. It honestly felt like the strongest episode of the season because it was playing to all of the best comedic strengths that Rick and Morty has.
Mm-hmm. For me, like starting off the next half season with that felt like, hey, it feels like Rick and Morty's like sort of getting into what I like about it again, and that's kind of what it did for the rest of the season for me. I think I liked every episode from Story Train on.
I have to agree that the second season feels more like Rick and Morty than the first half of the season.
I would say I'll be the weirdo here. My favorite episode of this season was in the first chunk, and I honestly think it might be in my top 3 episodes of the series as a whole, and that's the snake episode. I think.
Oh, Rattlestar Rick Lactica.
I think that was absolute brilliance. Every time they cut away to the snake planet and just showing them doing stuff, I thought was so good. And I loved everything about the premise of just like there's snakes in space and just Rick with the very true there's everything in space. Like it's the universe. Literally everything is in space. Like
yeah. And I don't think you're too weird for loving that episode. For me, it's not up there for me, but like I would have liked it more if it hadn't been preceded by 3 episodes I didn't like.
No, that's fair. Like what was it? The heist episode? I think that might be one of the worst episodes.
The heist was really bad. I hated the dragon one.
Oh, the dragon one's really good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for me, that one was like both the heist one and the dragon one for me were like really one-note jokes that they really just drove into the ground.
I mean, look, I'm not going to disagree that, so where the heist one, I think we're in full agreement. The dragon one for me kind of felt like, I don't know, they got so bizarre and so over the top and so into it. I think my biggest problem with that one was they didn't go far enough.
Well, and that is actually part of my problem too, is that they didn't evolve the idea past where it started. So it's just like, yeah, there's dragons and look, there's more dragons. They're like it's sex is the joke.
They're dragons and they're horny.
Yeah. Tom Kenny's gonna say something fucked up, and then like, oh, a world where Rick's technology doesn't work and there's magic. Well, that could be an interesting. No, never mind. He just sort of adapts and he's fine. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. No, nothing interesting in this story. All right.
Yeah, it is a very simple, just.
It kind of just decides not to be a story, and that's what annoyed me about that one.
And I remember that Justin Roiland talked about one of his least favorite episodes of season 3, and it felt like several episodes in this season, including the dragon episode, had that same problem where there was no structure, there was almost no payoff. Like it just felt like.
What's very interesting about the dynamic between Roiland and Harmon, from what I've heard in like commentary tracks and whatnot, is that sorry, getting my train of thought back. Is that Roiland is a very chaotic energy, and he brings a chaotic energy to the room, but he actually loves all the structured writing stuff that Harmon brings to the table. And meanwhile, Dan Harmon's like, he does all the structured writing stuff, but he's also like, oh man, but I need to like let go and let people go crazy more often. More people need to be involved in this and just and have their say. And I'm too focused on story structure. I need to cut that shit out. Or Roiland's like, I don't think the show would be good if you weren't like. They kind of like really appreciate what each other brings to the table. So basically, if there's too much of each one in the story, that person's probably gonna hate the episode that has too much of themselves in it, is my impression. Which I find kind of interesting.
So, okay, so I do want to touch back on the what's it called, that heist episode, because I feel like that's an incredibly divisive episode for some people. I know some people who love it, and especially people who are into heist films. I know a lot of people were like, oh hey, skewering satire, and I actually rewatched that episode today. I actually rewatched the first half of the season because I wanted to get myself caught back up.
I watched the season premiere and the season finale.
Yeah, well, I just recently, I rewatched all of the second half of the season as it was coming out. Like, I watched all those episodes like at least twice. So those are still fresh in my memory. That the first half feels like another season at this point because of that huge like wait in between them.
Not only that, but just, the world kind of changed between.
Yeah.
So it just made time seem way longer.
I think, so I think that you're right. The problem with that episode is that it just takes the same joke over and over again. And it's like, I understand that sometimes Rick and Morty uses repetition to make something funnier, but they don't do anything creative enough with the joke.
Yeah, like like they're doing it to service their point, which is they feel that heists are repetitive and boring and have only one trick up their sleeve at all times. But to build an episode around that concept by also doing that sucks. It makes the episode not fun to watch.
And also, one part of that episode, and one part, like a part of the season, is that, look, I am not opposed to Rick and Morty getting metatextual. That's totally fine.
No, that's part of its strength.
Yeah, but at this point, I feel like they're starting to recycle their jokes in that regard. Like, whereas Never Ricking Morty, the Time Train episode, was spectacular at just because it committed to it. The entire purpose of that episode was to be metatextual. There are other episodes throughout there. It's like, well, how did that happen? Who knows? It just did.
It's funny because
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say I don't want to start an argument here, but I feel like the train one, I thought it was fine. Like, I actually rewatched it last night, and it's one of those things where I think I appreciate what it's doing, but maybe it's me. I feel like it was a lot of tell, don't show, and I did not like that. Like, I feel like they were too much pointing at, here's what we're doing. We're making fun of this literary device, and like, I get that that's the bit, that's the joke, but also it just felt like, I don't know, it came off as kind of try hard to me, and it just like really weird, like rubbed me in a weird way that like I appreciated what they were going for. I just felt like their execution was not how I feel like they should have done it.
Yeah, well, when it came out, I sort of like, I did love it, but when it came out, I said that episode was very much up its own ass. I just also liked it.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, a lot of people like try to look deep into Rick and Morty and be like, oh, well, maybe they're saying this, maybe they're saying that. It's like, okay, no, look, here's what you need to understand about Rick and Morty. When it's saying something, it will pat itself on the back so hard, you will know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fun and fine. Like, it's always a joke that they do it, but they will always pat themselves on the back for making a point. So you don't have to wonder if they didn't do that. If it's not clear that they made that point, they didn't make it. Which maybe might seem a little bit reductive, but I think that's how Rick and Morty operates.
That's fair.
And again, I don't think it's necessarily a problem. Not everything needs to be subtle, because, not everything is subtle, and the obsession with everything needing subtlety is stupid.
I mean, yeah, as much as I agree with show don't tell,
which isn't to say that I think Grant's feelings are stupid. I was just saying that
how
people
dare you,
make
Stephan.
that the end all be all.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If it's not subtle, it's just buttle.
That means it's not art.
Yeah, and that's a common issue with people, like, to take kind of a left turn, when people were pissed off about that one scene in Steven Universe where they were talking about, where she lays out all of his problems. Some people were like, oh, wow, way to tell, not show. And I'm like, no, they showed it for an entire season. That entire scene is supposed to be the amalgamation of all of that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, sometimes you need to, like, you emphasize a point, and that's fine if you do it well. Like, you just have to be like, and boom, this is what happens, and if you were keeping up, you know why. and that's fine. You can state the point outright if you've done a good job at telling the point.
And like I also one like actually. I just said that doesn't need to be subtle. The show isn't subtle, but I do think it did one relatively subtle thing, just to completely torpedo my point I made a couple minutes ago.
Oh boy! Oh yeah.
Which is like something I genuinely noticed, and I was talking about this with our mutual friend Mark Swint, a little while ago. That we noticed something while the season was airing that we were hoping was there, but weren't sure, which is that this consistent through line of Rick noticing that Morty doesn't need him and basically using an abuser's tactic to make Morty feel like he needs him.
Oh yeah.
It happens in the heist episode. The dragon episode is filled with a little bit. Like it's just a small thing like throughout the season.
We see that. I mean,
and it comes to a head in the finale.
Yeah, as maybe non-canon as the episode is, which I guess it is because they totally brought it back. Morty's mind benders. Like that entire episode is chock full of that.
Yeah. Mind blowers. Mind blowers. That's the one.
Mind blowers. That was last season, and here, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to remember which one you were talking about.
Yeah, basically like a big clip show episode dedicated to showing that Rick will do anything to make himself look good to Morty, and that he's a lot more fallible than he lets on, which I really like when they do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I there's nothing that I can appreciate more from this show than Rick being this godlike figure who still can still be just undermined and fucked over because he forgets the little shit.
I feel like this season is the most we've seen Rick get like beat up in fights. Like I feel like he normally is like this demigod figure that no one can touch or only barely scathe. But in this one, I feel like he was on the verge of death and bleeding out like multiple times.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that actually, because like I think it's them actually internalizing a critique that people have had with the show. Because everyone knows that you don't want to go around screaming you're a Rick and Morty fan because people will connect you to a specific type of Rick and Morty fan. That fucking sucks.
I have friends who literally say they won't get into the show because of it.
Yeah. And I think, they started off this season by distancing themselves from those people.
So here and now, I've never even tasted Szechuan sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know what it tastes like. I'm gonna guess it's kind of spicy, a little bit spicy and a little bit sweet. Probably really sweet, actually.
People in the chat saying I'm a little quiet. I'm gonna turn myself up a tad. Maybe that's a little better.
That's way better.
But yeah, I was saying that. People were don't want to be connected to the fans of Rick and Morty that actually like think Rick is cool and something to aspire to, because Rick sucks. He's a bad person, and the show says that. But then often it will like the show will say that he sucks and then show him winning constantly. And so while the words are saying he sucks, the actions are saying he's cool. He always wins. Therefore, he's good. Narratively, that's what you're telling people. And I think they took that to heart this season and are like, okay, well, he can't actually win too often. And when he does win, you kind of don't feel good about it.
Yeah. In fact, I never truly felt good about him winning almost anything except for when a bigger asshole than him showed up.
Yeah.
Like in Child Rick of Mort, the episode where he is supposedly the baby daddy of a planet.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, a lot of really solid jokes throughout that entire episode, even if I kind of feel like the episode as a whole is not exceptional.
Yeah, but that one definitely felt like, hey, we're getting back to like season 2 and 3 Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I can see that. Mostly because there was almost no meta commentary about the show in it. It's just another episode where everybody's doing crazy shit. It has commentary,
and it's also stories. Like everyone has an arc in that episode.
I think Jerry's side story was probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh man, the great roughing of it is oh god, what was it? Great Roving of It is nigh. I can't remember.
Probably.
Yeah, but like they did a whole thing, and like I really enjoyed in that episode how Rick lost to, you know, quote unquote God in that episode, because I think early seasons of Rick and Morty absolutely would have had him win.
And you know, that's sort of interesting because I feel like there's a bit of a how do you put this? I feel like there's a bit of inconsistency with how strong Rick is, and that even happens in this season because there are a couple of times in the season that show him like, no, he can literally win an entire war on his own. He defeated Galactus in the last season drunkenly, and yet he goes up against this Zeus wannabe and he gets his ass kicked. I'm not saying it wasn't satisfying, and I'm not even saying like, oh, this is a plot hole, but it is a little bit like, okay, like I'm feeling a little uneven about how powerful or how competent Rick is supposed to be.
Could Phoenix Person have beaten that Zeus guy?
Interesting. Oh god, probably. By the way, I loved Phoenix Person. Like, just flat out loved Phoenix Person. I'm so glad that he was a part of that, and I'm glad they brought him back.
I also like that they brought him and Tammy back, just because that means that they're still going to follow up the Moriarty plotline, which Moriarty is a term used to refer to the evil Morty that's running the Citadel right now.
Dude, Moriarty is...
It's such a good name.
It's such a good fucking name. And second, I feel like Justin Roiland keeps saying like, oh, we know that you want us to follow this, but we don't care. We're going to do this other shit. And it's like, okay, look, you do what you want. I gotta say this. I am 100% the kind of creator who's going to say, do what you fucking want with your show.
Yeah, and I'm not going to ever yell, like, no, none of us will ever yell at a creator for doing something that they want with their own show. We just might stop watching if we get bored.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. Over the course of the last year and a half, I've heard more than enough people say, I'm not going to watch what you make anymore. And you know what?
Weird.
It's fine. Cool.
Yeah,
go do
that's
that.
That's good. Yeah. Stop watching.
That's an appropriate response if you feel like you're not getting what you want.
Yeah, like I'm never going
just
to say
don't make it my problem. But yelling at me.
People are allowed to have their criticisms. People are allowed to not like the things that they don't like, and they can say it. They can put it out there into the world. But that, like, creators need to follow their own
follow their hearts.
Vision. Yeah, follow their own vision. Because at the end of the day, nobody made okay. You don't create something specifically for other people. You can keep in mind what they want and try to build something, factor that in, but at the end of the day, what you make needs to be something that you want to fucking make. So, when I say that it frustrates me and disappoints me when I see things happen in Rick and Morty or like things not happen in Rick and Morty, that is not me saying Justin Roiland needs to do what I want him to do. That is not me saying that Rick and Morty needs to be what I want it to fucking be.
Yeah, I've had to include that caveat a lot when I've talked about the show on Twitter, just to be like, look, I'm never going to tell someone what to do with their own show. They can do what they want. It just shows show was drifting away from what I wanted for a while, and I was a little sad about that.
Yeah. And ultimately, you can always listen to your feedback from your audience. You can always tell, this doesn't seem to be resonating with them. And you can change it if you want. There's nothing wrong with that being like, okay, you know what? This I experimented and it didn't work. Or you can stop. You can be like, well, I got what I want out of it, and anything I'm doing now is just not working. So I'm going to stop and maybe start something new.
Yeah.
Both of those are acceptable. You can...
But, I feel like we should get back into it.
You're right.
But yeah, like the Moriarty plotline, I think they're gonna tackle it when they feel like it's time and when they feel like they have something fun to do. And I think that's great because like we wouldn't have gotten that Rick Lantis mix-up episode on the Citadel if they had like immediately followed up with that character. The fact that you kind of forgot he was a thing for a full season and a half before coming back in. I guess technically full 2 seasons, since it's like halfway through season 3.
Oh my god, yeah.
By the way, we do see the chat. I saw what you said there. But like I think it's fine. I think they'll tackle it when they have something interesting to say or do. And I'm totally cool with that. Like, I found it really interesting in the finale, like the way they tackled Phoenix and Bird Person wasn't, oh, they came back for their revenge. It was that, no, they came for
they came
clone
for Beth.
or not clone Beth, because they realized if we just don't fuck with Rick, he'll not fuck with us. He's not actually like that scary if you don't mess with him.
Yeah, he's
And he was so emasculated by that, and that's great.
Yeah, and
his I don't give a shit attitude is actually like bad for him.
He's chaotic neutral. Just leave him.
Yeah. And I love that. It's the show actually saying like, no. Rick's ideology of you shouldn't give a shit, and that's really badass is actually incorrect. And he cares a lot about what the government thinks of him. If he's not a threat to the government, that affects how he sees himself. Because he's obviously taken aback by that.
Yep. And I did find that incredibly interesting throughout that last episode, just to see his response to all of this, to Beth. Also, I loved the fucking story in that one. One of the things that I love about Rick and Morty being serialized is that when they bring something back, it's usually in a really creative and interesting manner. And the fact that they followed up on that mystery and the answer was satisfying goes to show you that they can do it, and it's so good when they do.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing with Beth, Beth, there is a Beth out there. And she's been fucking shit up for the galactic government. And she's been awesome, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and not only did they, like, do something that people wouldn't necessarily expect, they actually picked, literally, I think, the most interesting possible option for that storyline, which is that, no, there's two Beths now. You explore each possibility of who Beth could be. And that's way cooler.
Yeah, and by removing the answer to which is the real Beth,
they're both real.
Helps.
Yeah.
It helps. Well, huh?
It makes them both real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that, you know what? That's a good point. It makes them both real. Both of their experiences are real. There is no question to, like, oh man, which one should we be following? Which one should we care more about? No, as far as we know, they're both Beth Sanchez.
Yeah, really, it doesn't matter, right?
Actually, you know what? One is Beth Sanchez, one is Beth Smith.
Yeah.
Although they're both Beth Smith, and I love the fact that everyone keeps like this woman with a super uninteresting, unmemorable name.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite jokes that Rick and Morty does. Is they kind of like really lean into like descriptors are always including the descriptor with something.
Yeah. And I guess just to wrap around to what I was saying before, like long before, but like this season really was leading up to a point where Rick just fully loses that control he's been grasping for all season.
But okay, so that happens in the last episode, but for me it rang hollow. I feel like in other seasons this is something I would have enjoyed, but since this entire season so dedicated itself to actively avoiding any sort of serialization or seriousness, by the time it actually got to it, I was like, too little, too late. And even though I love that episode, I love its story, I love the episode, I love the payoff, but then they have this bit at the end that's supposed to be kind of this emotional, like, this big emotional moment, and I'm like, no.
For me, it's a wait and see moment, because I would like to see them continue this thread into the next season and actually have there be consequences. Because if things go back to business as usual, then, then that's not fun. But if they, because they can't just keep saying, he's sad, and then leave it at that.
Can't.
They need to actually. So I'm hoping that he really just loses his place and is forced to either change or adapt or just rethink how he's been doing things. And it seems like that's where they're leading. Like, it seems like they genuinely have been trying to adjust how they think about the show and the characters. Because, frankly, Jerry came out on top at the end of the season.
Which is interesting because this season, did this season start? No, that was last season, wasn't it? God. Yeah. So last season and this season have been so cruel to him. And look, he's a loser and a chicken, and he is not a good guy. He's a total asshole. And a lot of the time. but I feel like the show goes out of its way a little bit to be cruel to him, and sometimes that makes me uncomfortable. Sometimes I'm like, okay, look, you don't have to be this over the top with it.
There's a layer of that I get, but I also think I can understand the idea of a lot of media will, like, you know, rightfully vilify people who are outright terrible, who are actively bad and doing actively terrible things. I feel like there isn't a lot of things that really jab at how bad it is for people to be like Jerry, who is like, no, I just sit on the sidelines. I'm too dumb to do anything, and like
people who are just cowards, basically.
Yeah, cowardly, and who purposefully make themselves victims in any situation.
Yeah,
like,
and I think like with Jerry, like he has things that are admirable about him, right? The things that are admirable about him are that, like, he can just roll with any situation he's in, and he can find a way to be happy. That's cool. That's something you can like about Jerry. The fact that he's not someone who will actually actively do something to help other people if it's going to hurt himself more often than not is not admirable.
Yeah. No, not at all.
And that's contrasted with Rick, who is, like, outwardly terrible and actually bad, but has enough sense to usually come out on top when he's in something, because he usually is smart enough to not start a fight he doesn't think he can win.
Yeah, he's not a coward. He's just a piece of shit.
Yeah, like, and so it's this weird thing where, like, I do think that they can sometimes go a bit far with Jerry, but I also kind of appreciate, just because I feel like I haven't seen a lot of things, like, point at what I honestly think a lot of people can kind of be, which is just like, I'm not bad, but you're really not doing any good either.
And honestly, I felt like season 3 actually developed his character a lot, and then you know, at the end they're like, no, we're going back to the status quo. We're gonna roll it back. It's gonna be more like seasons 1 and 2, and I'm like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Like, I actually, like, you spent an entire season trying to give him development and kind of move things forward, and then they did that, and it's like, hey, I don't know what you want of me, show. Rick and Morty, what do you want of me? Because it's really difficult to get invested or even care about the jokes if you're going to, you know, tell me, oh, this is the kind of story we're trying to tell, and then just change it.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to say, just to contradict myself again, while I said Rick wasn't a coward, in one sense that's true, but in another sense I think it's false, because the end of the season shows him being a coward, right? Like, just a sort of moral coward. Like, he was cowardly in that he decided he didn't want to make a decision.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really important decision. I guess I'll just roll the dice and that's it. I'll flip a coin, basically, instead of actually choosing something.
Yeah. You know, I feel like the show itself evolved. And then they took a step back because they're like, we don't want to do that anymore, and that gave us a lot of whiplash. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have to agree. Rick's whole choice to remove himself from that choice was wholly in line with his character. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, again, that's the frustrating thing. Literally, that entire episode was really solid. Like, and in some places, great. I felt like some jokes didn't quite land as hard as they should. But generally, I was really happy with it. But when it rang hollow, because again, it's like, hey, you're trying to do this thing that worked really well in previous seasons, but since you treated this season so differently, it doesn't work.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, Scott, you and me have been talking a lot. Grant, do you have more thoughts?
Yeah.
I was actually trying to think of something that I was like, where do I jump in here? I don't know. It's like, I feel really divided on this, because on the one hand, like, I do love serialized stuff and things that, like, you know, can really flesh out a narrative and stuff. But also, I feel like there's not a lot of good, just episodic sci-fi comedy going on right now. And I really appreciated for a while that Rick and Morty was just here's this fun thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. We're not going to try and make you feel something. We're just here to make you laugh. And, like, I appreciated that on a level. Like, I feel like it's been a while since I've really seen something that's like that, even though that's technically an easier thing to do typically. But it's like, I don't know. It kind of just comes back around to the whole thing where it's like, I just wish they'd choose a direction.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a show that constantly second guesses itself, which in some ways can be great, in some ways can't, right?
Which is probably
definitely-
not to go too much into the people behind the show, but like knowing what little I do know of Dan Harmon and I can't believe I'm Justin Roiland. It's like I can also imagine them being the types of artists to second guess themselves and be like, this seemed really brilliant at the time, but now I've had enough introspection and like, you know, hindsight to realize I want to take this in a different direction. And then once you start going there, you're like, oh, actually, we were having way more fun when we were doing this. We should probably just do this some more. Mm-hmm. And then like I can appreciate that because, hey, as a creative person, I've definitely put myself in those corners. So I get it. It's just as a viewer, I wish they'd make up their mind. Because honestly, I feel like they could have gone in either direction, and if they just stuck with it, it would have turned out better than it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think at this point we're probably repeating that point.
Yes, and I apologize.
No, it's fine.
It's all right.
I do want to circle back to people in the chat have brought this up a couple times. Let's circle back to an episode we haven't discussed at all yet, which is the Vat of Acid episode.
Okay, Vat of Acid episode had some really good jokes in it.
I found that episode pretty interesting.
It was a high point of the season for me.
Yeah.
I really liked that episode a lot.
That was the episode where it's like, okay, I feel like Rick and Morty's back for me. Like,
so
that solidified
Vat of
it.
Acid episode, I think one of my... oh my god, like, I sometimes forget, like, they call it the Vat of Acid episode. But the Vat of Acid plays a part in the beginning and the ending, but the actual bulk of the episode is the fucking, the time... Oh, what was it? Save state.
Yeah, checkpoints.
Yeah. Which, oh man, that was, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good sci-fi conceit, and like that was something I definitely felt I was missing in the early half of the season. Is like actually treating the show like a sci-fi show that is also funny.
A little bit. I can see what you're saying there.
It felt like they got back to that the second half.
Well, partially because it took a concept and then ran with it, like a sci-fi concept.
I think the Snake episode was also very much in that vein, so it wasn't completely missing from the first half. But
I cannot tell you how effective that scene is, where Morty comes into the garage and he says, you know, I think what I learned was you gotta just live the life that you're given, and you can't just go back and redo things over and over. You know, you have to learn from your mistakes, and you won't learn anything if there are no stakes. And fucking Rick's response
there were stakes.
Oh no, there were consequences.
Yeah.
And then just the sound, like you don't talk much about the music or the sounds in this show. But when the soundtrack changed in that scene, and just the look on Rick's face and his body language as he says that, oh my god, I immediately, like, parts of me clenched.
Yeah. And I will say, it almost felt like a meta statement at that moment, just being like, you know what? Yeah, we did a season so far that's like had very little stakes, and it's not feeling very satisfying. So you know what? We're going back to stakes, and sometimes that's going to be terrible.
Yeah, and like, also that was maybe one of the cruelest lessons Rick has ever taught Morty.
And another like example of him he was belittled, he felt embarrassed, so he found a way to get the power back in the relationship.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the comedic thing about Rick's character is just he takes egomania to the 10 billionth degree.
Yeah.
And just like his absolute insanity to be right and to be the one who looks cool at the end.
When really he's just a petty child. Like,
no, yeah,
at his heart.
But because he has all of the scientific knowledge and power, he gets to display himself like a genius.
Yeah.
Which I think is just like, it's, I that's one of the things I appreciate about his character, and I think that's why I have like this like gut response to I don't know about serialization, because like I think what makes him funny is his flaws, and I don't want those to necessarily improve too much, because I feel like it's his bit is just being this egomaniac, and the world has to contend with like what happens when the guy who is always wrong makes himself right.
Yeah,
And
I think at the very least, I would like to see him grow enough to treat his family well,
that's fair.
or suffer consequences.
Yeah.
I do feel like they've like shown that like his family are kind of like the main ones who can get to him. Like he will begrudgingly like we don't really see it, but he has obviously gone to family therapy with them at some point, because he's like, I've been here before, I've set up stuff, I've da. Like this is something that he has experienced, presumably more than the one episode in last season, whatever Pickle Rick happened, but
last season.
But like it's a thing where his family clearly has some level of control of him, but it's just he begrudgingly accepts it and acts like it isn't actually there.
Right. And I will say, like, if you look at another example of a Dan Harmon show, which is to say Community, you can see an example of, like, in Jeff, a very flawed, selfish character growing, but not suddenly becoming a great human being, just a better human being, right?
I mean, if we're gonna pull that example, I'm gonna be honest. I think like Jeff, and to be fair, I watched Community at a different point in my life, so maybe I wouldn't feel this way now. I feel like I remember him starting really funny, and like by the end of the season, it's just like, oh, he's like the straight man who's just here while he's surrounded by funny characters, or he drinks, and like I kind of just my fear is I don't want that to happen to Rick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can see that. I only watched the first 3 seasons of Community, so I'm not sure how that ended up panning out. So,
I'd say keep watching, but you would have to power through season 4.
I've heard a lot of things about season 4. I kind of really, really, really want to just see what it's like, and so I can give my own response.
It might be worth it just like as a student of comedy to just sort of see how everything goes. Like rewatch the first 3 seasons and then just watch the rest of the show, so you can really see what happened.
A lot of it's a blur for me, but I feel like I do remember there being at least 1 or 2 shining moments in season 4. But yeah, I do remember it being a weird switch.
I was a huge fan at the time, and it felt like just an awful like betrayal of something I loved.
By the way, there's one episode we haven't talked about at all. We literally haven't even mentioned.
Was that?
Primordius, the one with Glorzo, the facehuggers.
Oh, okay. That was fine.
Yeah, that was probably for me. Like, I don't think it was necessarily bad, but like I feel like it's the least memorable of the second half of the season.
It may have one of my favorite jokes in the entire season, though, just because of how it was set up. So I'm not like, okay, look, I love dark comedy. I love stuff that is like, no, this is pitch black. It is pretty offensive, but not when it's trying to be malicious. It's just, it catches you off guard. It's like, bam, right out of nowhere. The scene with the 2 towers.
That was very hit and miss for people.
You know what? I'm sure I know why. But it's the only reason it worked was because of the, like, they show the response from Rick and Morty, and they're both like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
And it's such a great hit.
For me, that joke works when they immediately go, but hey, we could do Pearl Harbor again, and they just go there, because it's like, no, these are both like kind of national tragedies, but it's because one you did not personally experience. You're like, hey, you know what, we're gonna make this fun, and like how fucked up that is, but also how absolutely real that is for people.
Yeah. I think that joke worked better in the long run over the course of the episode, when you realize, like, yeah, they did that thing and they acted like it was fun. But then they have to come back. And it's like, and no, you just did a terrible thing, and you should feel bad.
Well, and that's why they're like, man, maybe we overdid it. And like Rick is like, yeah, what do you think we never go back to places we've been?
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where Morty never really consciously knew that this was the result of his actions, while Rick is like, yeah, I knew that. I just never wanted to face it.
And the only reason they can get away with it is because, well, generally these aliens are a scourge of the universe.
Yeah, people consider facehuggers to be awful on every level. Like, they override your humanity, so it's easy to see them as not human. Though you could still argue that even if the facehuggers were evil, the people inside are obviously still salvageable.
Yeah, there's that. There's also that argument. There's a lot that goes into it. You don't want to overthink it. It's Rick and Morty. Don't overthink it.
It's sci-fi. You overthink it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
There's another episode, I'm looking at a list of this season now, that we also haven't mentioned at all. Other than we really didn't talk about the premiere, but that's because we had like a whole episode thing on it.
Yeah.
But the second episode of this season, I forgot that one happened, and I think that is my least favorite episode of this season. I don't remember.
Really?
I don't remember hardly liking that one at all, like when it aired, and I've never gone back to rewatch it.
I'm sorry, but okay, I don't disagree that it's got its low points, but for me, there are just a couple of jokes in there that was so damn solid. That being said, I think its subplot with Rick is actually easily its most up and down part, because I don't know.
See, for me, the Rick one is the only one that's good in that episode. The entire app plot line just falls flat for me.
And if you don't know which episode we're talking about, it's the one with the like universe's greatest toilet or whatever.
Rick just has a private toilet on his own private planet that he goes to because he's a shy pooper, and another guy shows up to also poop on his toilet. And yeah, then also there's a more. It feels like it took up more of the episode plot, maybe just because it felt so long.
The Love Finders.
Yeah, the Love Finders app, aliens who make apps.
I think everything that had to do with the actual app itself was bad. Everything with fucking Gluty, though, I actually laughed at, but partially that's just because of the performance.
Because Taika?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing that I was like, everything with Gluty works. Like, and even the fucking evil mastermind guy worked. I loved that. I just love it's like, they have me on the, I'm the hostage. Well, do they have weapons? No, but neither do I. I loved the conversational humor there. I loved when they get to the fucking evil dude and he's like, why does it have to be an evil plan? Oh yeah, I guess that's right. Grabs the gun. And for the evil plan. Shit!
Yeah. I will also say I was very uncomfortable with Summer dating adults.
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable with that.
I mean, generally, I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's just they didn't quite, like, directly address that, so it just sort of happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're supposed to understand that's wrong, but the show doesn't have a good history of just expecting people to understand things are wrong.
Yeah, also that.
But, like, it was just a very mediocre episode overall, like, despite, an ending that always seems to work with Rick and Morty, which is Rick is sad at the end. But
and it came this close to actually like nailing that.
I think it helped that it was filled with a bunch of hymns berating himself. But
yeah, like, and it's like, this doesn't work. This isn't funny, and it isn't sad. Neither of they didn't nail either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, and again, there were certain parts of it that did work so well. That's why I don't want to write the episode off entirely.
I did forget about the bit where there's a bunch of himself yelling at himself, and while I do think that like might not be a super strong ending, I do feel like it's just a very clear metaphor of like, hey, Rick is depressed. Like,
yeah, it's a good external like representation of his self-loathing.
Yeah, like it's hey, depression, a big part of it is like that voice in your head you can't get to shut up that tells you you're terrible.
Yeah, king shit.
Yeah, and that is literally, he also considers himself typically like the highest authority in the universe. So to know that his private place can also be filled with him telling himself how terrible he is like like I do think that is like somewhat powerful. It just, I feel like it was undercut by the whole episode that followed it.
And that's why
before it.
That's why I was saying it wasn't sad or funny. It was poignant and it worked visually. Like, as in terms of a metaphor, it's strong. It's very strong. It's just the setup and payoff to it. Like, they didn't do enough with it to make it work. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of like, hey, here's the same point we've made before, just with a good visual metaphor. And it's like, okay, you've made this point though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, I can understand that it works as a point, but they've just made it so many times that I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to, unless we have more to say on this subject. I would like to pivot to something that people might find interesting, which is the production of this season and why it may have taken so long for one, and why the next seasons will actually come out a lot faster. Which is that, okay, so first off, this season probably took so long because Harmon and Roland were in the midst of basically negotiations with Adult Swim on how the ownership and rights of Rick and Morty work.
Oh.
And also, like, it should be noted that they weren't not doing anything this entire time, like before they got started on this season or whatever. Dan Harmon recently did a read-through with the community cast, and he pointed out that the writers on the episode that they were reading, one of them wrote with him on season 5 of Rick and Morty, wrote being past tense, and one of them is currently writing with him on season 6 of Rick and Morty, present tense. So, and Justin Roiland recently confirmed that season 5 is basically done.
Damn.
So they've been working on it this entire time.
I'm guessing you mean the writing?
The writing, bare minimum. Yeah, they've been working on that the entire time. So we'll be seeing the next seasons a lot sooner than you would expect. And they've promised that it'll never be this long again. And yeah, like, not only have they been writing, like, they're in the 6th season already in terms of writing.
That's pretty impressive. I gotta admit.
I'm hoping, I just wanted to let people know about that if they didn't know.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not just shitting them out.
I'm looking forward to the next season, even if, again, this was probably my least favorite season out of the 4. Which
I felt like it found its footing by the end, though, so I'm feeling positive.
What was
again.
that?
I feel like it definitely found its footing for me by the end. Whereas, like, I'm feeling positive again about the show. I'm looking forward to what they bring up next.
For me, it was just a bit too much up and down, and by the end of it, I felt like they did another pivot, and it's like, okay, as we said before,
please commit
to something.
Yeah, please commit to just serialization. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with having episodic episodes, but don't, like, spend the majority of the season on only episodic and then be like, well, no, maybe serialization is great. If you feel like serialization is good, then, like, let's just do that.
Yeah.
And it can be something that can be like, it's, I don't know. I think I'm also getting to a point where I might just be kind of burning out on the show. Like, it's like a thing where, like, I think this concept has, like, run a pretty good course. Like, not that I don't think that they can do anything interesting with it or, like, get me really, really back in, but it's a thing where also, like, I feel like this concept was really cool, but seemed like something that in my mind I didn't see going super long, and now we're already talking about a season 5, and I'm like, this is already gone longer than I think I expected it to.
Do you know what the episode order was after season 3?
I had heard that it was like a really big order, right? Like, I feel
70 episodes.
Okay, yeah. Like that
specifically to put them over the syndication.
Yeah, I figured
number. So that
which is a good move. I can. Hey, yeah, like, game recognized game. I get it, but but it's just one of those things where it's like, man, I feel like this is one of those concepts that, like, could have been a great short and sweet thing, and it was defeated by victory.
I can, yeah. I will say, like, this is a show, like, especially in the Story Train episode, you really see this, but this is a show that really resents being popular. It hates it. It hates how popular it is. It's like,
just as a hipster creator guy, I get it.
Yeah, like, they spend a significant portion of the Story Train episode saying, like, making fun of their own capitalist, like, bullshit. like
Morty, you bought something.
Yeah, like,
that's the most important thing you can do.
Just buy things and don't think about it. And meanwhile,
take it back. Did you hear anything I said? Buy another one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like every commercial break has a custom animated Rick and Morty commercial for Carl's Jr. or some shit.
For Wendy's, which I loved. That in the season finale, he's like, I know this is bad parenting, but if you both get along, we could go to McDonald's. And they, like, point a gun at him. He's like, all right, we'll go to Wendy's. We know we like Wendy's. They gave us money or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, it's so interesting to watch a show that, like, hates itself for being popular.
Yeah.
Which I know, Dan Harmon making a show about people and shows that hate themselves, that's
Whoa.
Crazy. It's almost like Dan Harmon openly hates himself.
That's what? No
Yeah.
way.
Well, what a better place to end this on.
I do want to say real quick, if people haven't checked out Solar Opposites, it's actually very good. It's Justin Roiland's show on Hulu. And it's actually rad.
I saw like commercials and stuff for it, but I haven't actually watched it. Is it actually good?
Yeah, like it has a rough start, but like it's got a more wholesome core to it, and it's very funny, and it even has like some genuinely interesting concepts in it.
What I'm kind of hoping for is that it turns out to be the American Dad to Rick and Morty's Family Guy.
It kind of is. Like it has the same style, has a similar sense of humor because Justin Roiland is there voicing the characters, but it's a good time. Like it's only 8 episodes, and I enjoyed myself. I'm looking forward to the second season.
I'm also looking forward to trying out Central Park.
Central Park is amazing, and I love it. It's only 3.
I saw you post a clip from that, and it wasn't until I read the text I had just assumed it was from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, right? How could you not?
It's on Apple TV, and I know Apple TV is a huge barrier to entry, but it's $5 a month. There's also a 7-day free trial, and Central Park is worth it on its own. But also Mythic Quest, Rob McElhenney's game dev sitcom, set in like a WoW, like a World of Warcraft style company, is actually really good too.
You know what? Actually, I remember seeing the trailer for that, and some people were like, "Oh man, do we need this show?" I'm like, I don't know. I think this show looks fantastic.
It's like the natural evolution of what the Guild was.
Yeah.
It's like a better The Guild to me. It's more the dev side, and I find it genuinely it does some genuinely ambitious things. The 5th episode of that show is like, what the fuck wow. I did not expect that from the show. And they've made the only really good quarantine episode of something. Parks and Rec had a cute quarantine thing, but they had like a genuinely great quarantine episode.
Well, that's...
So I get Apple TV and watch those 2 shows is what I'm saying, I guess. It's $5.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I might actually have to give that a try then.
I think you two would both appreciate both of those shows, but particularly Central Park. If you're like me and you love big old musicals and comedy, it's just great.
Isn't there like 2 songs an episode?
3.
Damn.
And they're all good. I legitimately love all the songs.
Oh man, it's like... Yeah, I gotta give it a try. I guess I got it.
It's so good.
I guess that might be my new workout show.
It's so good.
I'm very curious about it.
Does anyone else have any shows to recommend, or is it just gonna be me?
Actually, I've been watching Dodo Hey Dodo on Netflix.
Oh, fucking weeb.
Yeah, look, man, I already talked about Kipo and the and the Wonder Beast. Look, Dodo Hey Dodo is really damn good. It is also super violent. Like, if you cannot stand violence, do not watch Dodo Hey Dodo. It is, oh boy. I am about 6 episodes in, and it is one of my favorite shows I have seen in years. Just because it calls back really hard to old like 80s and 90s style, like both storytelling and character design. Like everything feels like it's in a very good way. Also, its backgrounds are unbelievable. I feel like I'm watching the guy who made Akira. It feels like all of the backgrounds are on that level, and it's like, wow. Yeah. And it's also got great animation, great English cast. The voice of the main character took me a little while to get used to, but I've actually come to love it. Also, Jeremy Lee as her character makes her kind of one of my favorite characters in the show, just by the way she talks and acts. Oh my god, Jeremy Lee kills it. But yeah, no, guys, watch Dodo Hey Dodo if you want something violent and over the top and full of cool, interesting concepts, ideas, and designs. Yeah.
All right, well, you heard it here. Go watch Bo.
Yes, that's it.
That one.
Bo.
I don't have a good show to recommend, but all of the very short-lived reality show Kid Nation is on YouTube. And I've been having a weird dive into the strangest reality TV show I think I've ever, like. I remember watching the premiere years ago, and then like buzz started up about it. I think somebody made a video, but people started talking about it again. I was like, part of my brain thought I made that up. But turns out every episode of it is on YouTube, so you can see that.
Oh, I do have
By
one
the
more
way-
thing we need to recommend.
Is it what I think it is?
Probably. Were you gonna go ahead and do it?
Yep.
Okay.
So today on our channel, am I on the right direction?
Yeah.
Okay. Today on our channel, we released our.
Oh yeah, watch Haikyuu.
Yeah, well, go to our channel, check out the Haikyuu video. If you're a Haikyuu fan, you might find it really funny. If you're not a Haikyuu fan, you might find it really funny.
It is not made for Haikyuu fans, and that's probably the funniest thing about it.
Yeah. We made a Haikyuu short. No, not.
Grant,
okay,
do you want to tell,
so-
do you want to give people some little insight?
Yeah. I voiced in it, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, everyone in this chat is absolutely super involved. Once again, Stephan, I cannot give you enough credit for the animation you did. When Kira and I were making up this idea, initially it was just going to be PNGs with lip flaps. And what you did with it, I think, gave it so much more charm and personality, and I adore it.
Thank you.
But yeah, we made a video about Haikyuu, and the only thing you really need to know going in is neither Kieran nor I, who wrote everything about this video, have ever seen Haikyuu. Like, here, if you're a fan of Haikyuu, I thought it was a basketball show, and that's what we ran with.
They also thought one of the characters from an opposing team was on the same team as the leads.
And I'm pretty sure we think a team member is the coach.
Yeah.
The only thing we did, the only research, I'm using air quotes, that we did was I went on a wiki to look up names for characters, and apparently the main character isn't named Haikyuu. That was just an assumption we made.
Yeah.
Also, I have never been to Chicago.
Yes. Somebody
I've been to the airport.
Asking why did they land in Midway? Because they probably put in Chicago Airport and got Chicago Midway International. That's why.
Yep.
Even though you
Yeah.
totally fly into O'Hare.
O'Hare was the one I wanted to use, because it's the one I went to. But I went with what was in the script. The first image I grabbed was O'Hare. I wanted the dinosaur
Wait.
in the background. But
Yeah, I think I just Googled Chicago International Airport, and that's what came up. I'm like, all right, here we go.
man, I should have just went with O'Hare, though, because they do have a giant brontosaurus skeleton in the background. It would have been good foreshadowing. I'm only just realizing my mistake.
Well, don't hint too much at the audience.
I mean, to be completely honest, part of that entire thing is that all of it's wrong. Except for all the facts about Chicago. Those were all right.
That is true.
Absolutely true. Including how you can use fountains as a means of travel.
Yes, that one's the most important one.
Well, maybe that
So-
airport was just cheaper. They're on a budget.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun with it, and we really do hope that if anybody here hasn't watched it, please do give it a watch. It was a lot of fun to voice for, and I saw the script, and that got me really excited. I think it came out like, hey, if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, I think this is actually kind of up your alley.
It might be, yeah. We also have one other thing that we want to bring up.
Ooh, do we?
We do. Don't we have a shirt?
Yeah, oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. So, hey, it's June, and that's LGBTQ plus Pride Month.
Hey.
And we released a Trans Pride shirt. It's our logo with the Trans Pride colors, and it looks really. I don't like saying, "Oh man, our stuff looks so good," especially when it's going for a good cause. But I actually really like how the colors look on the dragon.
Yeah, it looks pretty rad.
It's got this great color, cotton candy look to it, and I just really like it.
Yeah, and yeah, all the profits go to the Sylvia
Yes.
Rivera.
Well, all of
charity.
our share of the profits.
Yeah, all our
the
share of the profits. We can't control other companies.
Yeah, but yeah, so our share, basically it's about $7, around $7 per shirt goes to the Sylvia Rivera Project, which is for people of color and low-income trans folks representation legally, etc. It's a good, we double checked, it's a good charity, and we're happy to be a part of it. So if you want to buy our Trans Pride shirt, go to sharkrobot.com/team-4-star. It'll be there, support the community, and yep.
And I think that's all the plugging.
Good price for a shirt. The shirts themselves are $20. The $7 that we would get for the shirt is going to go to the
Yeah, $7
charity.
is just what we would make per shirt.
Yes. But yeah. definitely give it a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Stephan, for joining me today and talking about the Ricks and the Mortys.
Yeah.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Oh man!
Sure.
Oh my God! I don't even.
Did he even say that this season?
No, they dropped
Has
it.
he said
No.
it for multiple seasons?
I don't think he said it since season 3. Actually, I think he only said it once, maybe. Huh. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Tune in next week, probably, maybe. God, we don't even know what we're going to be talking about next week.
Turns out it's tough to come up with topics this time of year.
Yeah, it's been a bit tough. But until next time, thank you all so much. And yeah, adios.
Bye.